Hello, everybody. Bill Thornton, SoCal Saber. Thanks for stopping by for spinning number 127. Been doing this for a long, long time. And what we do on this every Saturday is we take a look at the albums and CDs I listened to this week. I'll talk a little bit about them, and hopefully you will respond. And we're going to, this week started off with a 1976 album by called Solitary Man by T.G. Shepherd. Now, when I first picked up, this is the last album in that big Whatnot bundle I've been working through. And when I first looked at this, I said, "Oh, I recognize the name." Okay, and this was the third album by him. It's the only thing I have in the collection by him, and it's definitely country all the way. But it did peak at number 16 on the U.S. country charts, so that's pretty good for him. And it has a few cover songs, such as the title track that was done by Neil Diamond, and some others that are on here. Okay, "Oh Pretty Woman," "Another Woman," "Show Me a Man." Some good songs on here. Overall, they were good songs. And he had 42 songs on the Billboard Country Songs chart, including 14 that reached number one. So he had quite a career, but not being a country fan, I sure didn't remember him too much or listen to him too much. And most of the songs on this one are those that I call crying in your beer. You're crying, "Oh, my girl left me," or "Oh, I did this," or that type of a music that I do not prefer. Lyrics that I do not prefer. I probably cried in my beer a few times in my life, but I didn't like doing it. And it's on the Hitsville label. It's a pretty cool looking label. And though, I said the songs were good, but that crying in the beer stuff takes it down for me. So the best I can give for TJ for this week for this one is a fair plus, which normally means it won't be getting picked on by me to get played again. So that's the first one I listened to this week. Take a second, go down there, hit that like button, do all the nice things. If you're watching and you haven't done so yet, please subscribe. Tell your friends about this. I got to get this channel, want to get this channel building up more, and I just can't get the VC people over here. So let me know what you think would be help to improve on that also. Anyway, the next one I got is also from Whatnot, but it was not in that bundle. Anything now that I'm bringing up on Whatnot is something that I specifically bid on because I had it on my want list. And this is a 1977 reissue of a 1972 album by Yes, "Close to the Edge." This is I didn't open it up. This is a gatefold. The guy that had it before me left the shrink on, so I couldn't open it up, and I haven't decided. And it's got two little sales stickers on it, so there's no real hype stickers on it. So I might, when I'm done here today, open her back up and get her looking as the Greenfield. I've had this for quite a long time, and yes, I have 6 LPs and 2 CDs in my collection by them. But this one was on my want list for a while. I've seen it a couple times, and it didn't look so good, so I didn't pick it up. And I didn't want to spend the money on the remastered reissue that came out. I think it was like about a year ago. So I did pick this one up. It played very, very nicely. It was their last album until 1991. Wow, that's a long featuring the original drummer Bill Bruford, who found the album particularly hard to make and felt he was unable to continue better ideas, which influenced his decision to leave the band. Where did he go? He went and joined King Crimson, another really great band. So that was good. This album's centerpiece is the opening track, which is 18 minutes. The title track is called Close to the Edge. It's it's continuous. It's got 4 different little parts in it, and it's 18 minutes. Nice listening to that. So that was really, really good stuff. Became the band's greatest commercial success at the time, reaching number 4 in the UK and number 3 in the US. Ian Anderson's initial inspiration came while they were on tour for the previous album, Fragile, when he was in this hotel room one night. And he was reading the book, Lord of the Rings, and listening to a symphony. And then he got the inspiration for this album here. It's really, I don't think odd, but it's really interesting is when I find out how they got their inspirations for different things and what they did. Their minds are so creative, so creative. The vinyl had a little bit of noise in between tracks, but nothing on during the song. So I gave the vinyl a VG plus on there. And because of that, even though this is very, very good, I'm only going to give it a G plus for the week. So that's the 1970, what I say, 77 reissue of the 72 album, Close to the Edge by Yes. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Now you thought this next one was on the thumbnail. And this was the Greatest Hits by The Cure. This is a 2 LP gatefold. I have 3 LPs and 2 CDs by them on there. Buy them in the collection. There are inners, but there's I'll show you. Because each inner has different, and what it does is just has the titles and the credits on them. Each one's a little differently as far as that goes. This is a 2026 Record Store Day reissue. Okay? And it was remastered. It's a remastered release of the 2001. So they were celebrating 25 years since this first came out. It's on I call it a Navy battleship gray. And I did inquire this the morning after Record Store Day from the In Groove in Phoenix. One of the 3 I picked up from them. If you want to see, I do have a video out there about my Record Store Day pickups for this year, so check it out. And let's see what I got to say. This was, let's say, the Greatest Hits. It's one of their biggest selling albums, featuring 4 UK top 10 hit singles and 4 UK top 20 singles. Curated and remastered by Robert Smith for the 21st anniversary. The Cure, could you believe it, coming up on 50 years in 2028. This is a very nice production. Colorful inners with credits. The only thing that which would made it a bit better was if there was lyrics included. However, if I really wanted the lyrics, I could look them up and get them from somewhere else. So I'm not going to detract too much for that. If I really needed them, I really like this one. I enjoyed listening to all the music. I guess it puts all the stuff from my different other media sources into one. And I'm going to give this a VG for the week. That's the 2026 Record Store Day reissue of the 2001 album Greatest Hits by The Cure. There we go. All right, we're going to get into a couple CDs here. Taking a break from the albums like I do every week. The first one I pulled out was number 227 in the collection. And it's the 1995 album slash CD, These Days by Bon Jovi. I have one LP, but I have 12 CDs in the collection by Bon Jovi. That's crazy. I knew I was a fan, but I didn't know I was that big of a fan. So things go back so far I can't remember. This was the sixth studio album by them. This was the first album that was released after they dismissed this original bassist, Alec John Such. In their first album, they were recorded officially as a quartet without an official bassist. But Hugh McDonald came on board as a session and touring member as the bass guitar. These Days was a darker overall album compared to their previous pop stuff that they put their usual brand of feel good, inspiring rock songs and love ballads. But it was good. I enjoyed this one a lot. Good rock stuff on here. The album was a huge commercial success, especially in Europe and the Asian markets. Always strange how in certain times in life the U.S. fans are so much different than the rest of the world. What do you think causes that? Let me know. Anybody out on there a Bon Jovi fan? If you are, let me know. What'd you think? If you have this one, what'd you think about it? This became the band's fifth and fourth consecutive number ones in Australia and the United Kingdom. In the United Kingdom, These Days replaced Michael Jackson's album History as the number one on the albums, and it's been 4 consecutive weeks at number one. This is really good stuff, okay? The variations in the music style and the tempo made it very appealing to me. And so this week, Bon Jovi's 1995 album, These Days, gets a VG from me. Pretty good stuff there. And then we're going to be going to the next CD, which is number 228. It was the 1995 album by The Heart, The Road Home. The 14th album overall by the rock group Heart. What do you know about that? It chronicles a club performance in the unplugged style in their home city of Seattle. Live audience. The set list contained acoustic versions of many of the band's hits, including Dreamboat Annie, Alone, and Barracuda. The album reached number 87 on the U.S. Billboard 200. This contains a lot of really, really good albums. I'm going to show you the inner in here in a second. Oh, I thought maybe I showed it to you already. I did. No, I didn't. What am I? I'm losing control here, folks. Call the cops. Call the police, or whoever you know to call to get me back in control. Okay. Like I said, it was packed with really, really good songs. My drawback of this one, because of the way they were playing it unplugged and so forth, was the mellowness of the tempos and the melody. I heard a lot of these songs and more upbeat and liked them a lot, and liked them upbeat way better. So, it's a good one. The best I can do because of that is a G+ for the week. Bunch of Heart fans chiming in out there. All right. Well, now we're getting down to the last 2 albums of the week. These are albums that have been in the collection a long time. As we're going through this big project of listening to everything once again, they come out again. Well, they come out for the first time. This is the 19, I forget what year it is. No, I can't see it on there. I'm sorry, but this is the second time this has been viewed on my channel. Why? Because I had bought it early. This was like in the 70s, the late 70s. And I bought it subsequently again, not knowing that I already had it. I have 3 LPs, and one is a copy of this album, of this collection. This was the 5th studio album by the Australian group. And the album included 2 top 10 Billboard Hot 100 hits in Lonesome Lover and Cool Change, which I really like Cool Change. So I must be a little bit of a fan if I got more than one thing by them. The album peaked at number 2 in Australia and number 10 in the Billboard 200, becoming the group's highest charting album in that territory. The album was received overall with good reviews and charted in 4 different countries. A lot of people shied away from these people, but they did a good job. So, first Under the Wire, the 1979 album, I'll call it, by the Little River Band, gets a VG for the week. Good job. Okay, now we're getting to the finale of the week. And this is another 1979 LP. And this is titled Classics by Kenny Rogers and Dottie West. By Kenny Rogers alone, I have 6 LPs and 1 CD in the collection. If I had to pick a country western fan that I liked the most, it was always Kenny Rogers. You know, we got just one of those sales inners in there that we don't use anymore. And here's the track listing. A lot of good songs. This was the second album the two of them made together. Their previous album, Every Time Two Fools Collide, was a major seller and made them one of the biggest duet acts country music had ever seen. This album was no different. The album sold very well and peaked at number 3 on the Top Country Albums chart in 1979 and number 82 on the Billboard 200 chart. The album covers cover versions of classic hits by other hits by other artists, including 2 country hit singles. One went to number 1 called All I Ever Need Is You, a big hit by Sonny and Cher. Another one, number 3, called Till I Can Make It on My Own, which was a hit by Tammy Wynette, another country female singer. Except for my liking of Kenny and the songs on the album, I'm not sure why I bought this one. Because the songs don't go up my line. I mean, there's some songs on there that I like. I think they're okay. And so, because it sold so well, because it has a delicate touch, I'm going to give it a strong G for the week. So that's it. And as usual, I'm going to pick up the 2 that I liked the most during the week. Okay. The first one is going to be the Whatnot pickup, Close to the Edge by Yes, the 77 reissue of the 1972 album. And the last second one I'm gonna go for is the 1979 Little River Band album, First Under the Wire. Both good albums. Check them out on your Spotify or whatever you use for there. See if you like them. You might want to add them to your collection. So leave me some comments on there. I'd love to hear from you. SoCal Saber saying take care of yourselves out there. Be kind to each other. Stay safe.